I am on the board of directors for our local no-kill animal shelter. We find homes for the stray dogs and cats people bring us in our county. Our animal control officer is only available to collect our furry visitors Monday through Friday. Since animals are notorious for not reading their event planners, I have often gotten calls on Friday evening that I can't immediately direct to our sheriff's department for assistance. Fortunately, most people are willing to keep their strays for the weekend. Several years ago, I got a call on Saturday regarding 4 kittens. The man explained that they had been left in a box in the middle of the road, and his daughter had brought them home. It was a 3-day weekend, so I asked him if he could keep them until Tuesday when animal control would be available to pick them up. He said he could, and I went back to my reading. About 10 minutes had passed when the phone rang again. I picked it up, and a woman started screaming at me.
Are you the gal who told my husband we would have to keep those freaking kittens?
Yes, ma'am. Animal control won't be able to collect them until Tuesday because of the holiday.
Well, if you don't come up with a better answer than that, I'm going to take them back where she found them.
According to my vet, they were about 5 weeks old. They were healthy, and he was confident I could find good homes for them. I brought them back to my house thinking I would run an ad in the paper since the shelter had so many cats to find homes for already. That afternoon, my sister stopped to visit on her way to her family's summer vacation. Of course, she and my nieces were charmed by my furry visitors, and she said she would take one if I could keep them until she came back through. I was delighted since I knew at least one of my charges would go to a good home. When she stopped on her way home, I convinced her that 2 kittens were better than 1, because they would keep each other entertained. She and the girls watched them playing together, and she agreed that 2 would be a lot of fun. That left me with 2 to adopt out. A friend of mine who lives in another city wanted a kitten when she found out they were black. She had always wanted a black cat that she would name Lennon after John Lennon of Beatles fame. This left 1 kitten looking for a home. I decided there wasn't any reason for me to give the last kitten away. I already had RK by Big Yellow Tomcat. He seemed to adopt a kind attitude towards the 2 who were left, and I thought if I kept one, it could keep him company. The next day when I went back to feed them, the 2 kittens were cuddled in a ball on my bed. It was obvious they were happy being together. Maybe I've watched too much Walt Disney when I was growing up, but I was so touched by their affection for each other that the thought of ripping them apart brought a lump to my throat. I just couldn't do it. I called my friend and told her of my predicament. Would she be terribly upset if I reneged on my promise and kept the kitten she wanted? Another friend of mine had a cute little calico kitten she was trying to adopt out. Would she mind the switch?
No, but under one condition, I'll take the painter Kitty if you promise to name the black one Lennon.
RK, my tomcat, disappeared one evening, much to my grief. I had the 2 kittens to comfort me, but I was still terribly sad. A couple months went by and the kittens both grew into beautiful cats. It was another Friday evening, only this time it was March and a cold rain was falling. The phone rang.
My kids are playing with a little gray cat. It looks like it's been out for a while. Can Happy Tails take it?
A few minutes later, she delivered a cardboard box to my house. I sat down with it and opened it up to inspect the prisoner. She was a soft little tabby cat. She jumped out and raced to the food bowl. Again, I fell in love. I live on Harrison Street and I already had a Lennon, so I decided that the good Lord must have wanted Paul McCartney to have a namesake too. When I set up my Wi-Fi service, I used star as my password. Since I live on Harrison Street, I figured the town fathers had already inadvertently honored George, and so all of the Beatles were accounted for. For the next 2 years, I was a 3-cat family. I thought of RK, my runaway tomcat, and realized that if he was still with me, I would have had 4 cats. I decided I could adopt a cat to fill RK's bunk if the need arose. Miraculously, RK was returned to me after being gone for 3 years. Once people knew where I lived, more strays found their way to my door. A woman brought me a batch of very tiny kittens. She reported that she was leaving town, and their mother had abandoned them. They were very small, and I was afraid I would step on them. Fortunately, my friend, SQ, agreed that my clumsy-footedness might put my fuzzy guests in mortal danger, so she kindly took them home with her. My cat collection had reached critical mass. 4 was a nice even number, and I wasn't looking for more feline companionship. Then the doorbell rang. This time I was handed a tiger-striped kitten who was big enough to avoid becoming a feline pancake, so I took him in. I no longer answer the phone for the shelter. Another volunteer has taken that miserable task over. I was happy to do it, but having someone take over for me probably saved me from being a hoarder.